Swinging for almost a decade, messed up badly, need advice. The clinking of ice against glass was Sarah's tell. Every time she got nervous, she'd overfill her wine glass with ice. Tonight, it was practically a glacier floating in Pinot Grigio. "You okay?" I asked, already knowing the answer. We were at Tom and Lisa's, gearing up for their annual Halloween bash, which was code for clothes optional after midnight. Usually we were the first ones on the dance floor, Sarah in some outrageous getup she designed herself, me right behind, fueled by cheap beer and the thrill of the night. But tonight, Sarah looked like she wanted to be anywhere but here. "Just thinking," she said, avoiding my eyes. We'd been swinging for almost 10 years. A decade of shared experiences, both exhilarating and awkward, had, we thought, made us stronger. We had rules, explicit, ironclad rules. No falling in love. No repeat partners without the other's enthusiastic consent. And above all, honesty. Total transparency. It had worked. Until it didn't. David, ever the smooth operator, sauntered over, a camera slung around his neck. He was a regular in our rotation. A guy we both genuinely liked. Good conversation, respectful, and damn good in bed, according to Sarah. I'd always suspected there was a deeper connection between them, a spark that went beyond the physical. It never bothered me before. Part of the appeal of swinging, I'd always told myself, was witnessing Sarah's pleasure, even if it wasn't solely with me. "Ready to capture some scandalous moments?" David asked, winking. Sarah forced a smile, always. The party started slow, people trickling in, cautiously shedding layers of clothing. The air was thick with anticipation and the scent of cheap cologne. I tried to get into the spirit, cracking jokes, grabbing a beer, but my head wasn't in it. All I could think about was Emily. Emily, the woman I'd met at the architecture conference in Chicago 3 weeks ago. Younger, vibrant, and interested. Flattered would be an understatement. We talked for hours about design, about life, about things I hadn't discussed with Sarah in years. One late night, fueled by conference, provided wine and the loneliness of a hotel room, we'd crossed the line. Once. I told myself it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But the memory of her touch, the way she'd looked at me, kept replaying in my mind like a broken record. I knew I needed to tell Sarah. The guilt was eating me alive. But the thought of hurting her, of shattering the carefully constructed world we'd built, paralyzed me. The music got louder, the lights dimmer. Couples started pairing off, disappearing into bedrooms and darkened corners. I watched Sarah and David laughing together by the bar, their bodies close, their connection undeniable. A wave of jealousy washed over me, stronger than anything I'd felt before. "You okay, Mark?" Lisa asked, her voice cutting through the noise. She and Tom were an odd couple. He constantly worried about boundaries, she pushing them at every opportunity. "Yeah, fine," I mumbled, taking a long swig of my beer. "You seem distracted," she pressed. "Anything you want to talk about?" I hesitated. Telling Lisa would be like confessing to a priest. She'd listen without judgment, but the news would inevitably get back to Sarah. "Just work stuff," I lied. The night wore on, a blur of bodies and half-hearted conversations. I avoided Sarah as much as possible, pretending to be engaged in deep discussions about concrete with Tom. But I could feel her eyes on me, questioning, probing. Back home, the silence in the car was deafening. Sarah stared out the window, her face illuminated by the streetlights. "You were off tonight," she said finally, her voice flat. "I was just tired," I said, knowing it sounded weak. Tired or guilty? My heart pounded in my chest. "What do you mean? Don't play dumb, Mark, I'm not stupid." She turned to face me, her eyes filled with a mixture of hurt and anger. I saw the text. The text. A fleeting message from Emily, sent days ago and quickly deleted, or so I thought. Thinking about last night. "Hope to see you again soon." It was nothing, I stammered. Just a work thing. She was thanking me for my help with her project. A project that involves sleeping with you. The words hung in the air, heavy and accusatory. I knew I couldn't lie anymore. "Okay, fine," I said, my voice barely a whisper. I slept with her. The silence that followed was worse than any shouting match. Sarah didn't cry, didn't scream. She simply stared at me, her face devoid of emotion. "Who is she?" she asked finally. I told her about Emily, about the conference, about the late-night drinks and the one moment of weakness. I tried to explain, to justify, to minimize. But the words sounded hollow, even to my own ears. "One time?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You swear it was just one time?" "Yes," I lied again. There had been a lingering hug the next morning, a promise to stay in touch. She didn't say anything for the rest of the drive. When we got home, she went straight to the bedroom and locked the door. I spent the night on the couch, feeling like the lowest scum on earth. The next few days were a living hell. Sarah refused to speak to me except to issue curt demands. I moved out of the bedroom, sleeping on the couch full time. The house, once filled with laughter and shared moments, felt cold and empty. I don't know if I can forgive you, she said finally, one morning over coffee. Her eyes were red and swollen, her face etched with pain. I know, I said, my voice cracking. I don't deserve it. Swinging was supposed to make us stronger, she continued, her voice shaking. It was supposed to be about honesty and communication, and you lied to me. You broke the rules. I know, I repeated. I messed up badly. Badly. You betrayed me, Mark. You betrayed our marriage. We started couples therapy. Dr. Klein was a calm, collected woman who listened patiently as we recounted our story. She asked probing questions about our motivations for swinging, about our individual insecurities, about the underlying dynamics of our relationship. Mark, she said during one session, it sounds like you were seeking validation outside of your marriage. Were you feeling neglected or unappreciated by Sarah? I hesitated. I don't know, I said finally. Maybe. I guess I felt like, I don't know, invisible sometimes. Sarah scoffed. Invisible. I work my ass off to make you feel loved and appreciated. I plan date nights, I cook your favorite meals, I listen to you drone on about architecture for hours. I know, I said, wincing. It's not your fault, it's me. I'm just, I don't know, insecure. Therapy dragged on, week after week. We made progress, slowly but surely. We started communicating more openly, sharing our fears and insecurities. I ended things with Emily completely. It was a messy, painful conversation, filled with accusations and recriminations. Emily accused me of using her, of leading her on. She threatened to tell Sarah everything. I begged her not to, promising her anything if she would just disappear from my life. Luckily, she did. Sarah started sleeping in the bedroom again, but the intimacy was gone. We would lie in bed side by side, but there was a chasm between us, a vast and unbridgeable distance. I still think about it, she confessed one night, her voice barely audible. I still think about you with her. I know, I said, reaching out to take her hand. I'm sorry, do you regret swinging? She asked suddenly. The question caught me off guard. I don't know, I said honestly. There were good times. Times when we felt closer, more connected, but maybe it was always a recipe for disaster. Maybe, she said. We decided to put swinging on hold indefinitely. We needed to rebuild our trust, to rediscover our connection. We started going on dates again, just the two of us. We went to movies, to concerts, to restaurants. We tried to recreate the magic of our early years, before the swinging, before the complications. One night, we went to our usual bar. The bartender, a guy named Tony, gave us a knowing look. Long time no see, he said, wiping down the counter. What can I get for you? Just 2 glasses of wine, I said, and a quiet corner. We sat in the corner booth, sipping our wine and watching the other couples. The bar was crowded, filled with the usual mix of locals and tourists. I saw a couple across the room, holding hands and laughing. They looked happy, content. Do you think we can ever be like that again? Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know, I said honestly, but I'm willing to try. A few months later, Tom and Lisa invited us to a party. Not a swinging party, just a regular get-together with friends. We hesitated, unsure if we were ready to re-enter the social scene. But we decided to go, to face our fears. The party was in full swing when we arrived. People were laughing, talking, dancing. We felt awkward, out of place. Everyone knew what had happened. The air felt thick with unspoken questions, with pity and judgment. We saw David across the room talking to a woman we didn't recognize. He caught my eye and gave me a small, polite nod. I nodded back, feeling a pang of regret. Sarah took my hand, her grip tight. Let's go, she said. We slipped out the back door, unnoticed. We walked in silence for a few blocks, hand in hand. Where are we going? I asked finally. I don't know, she said. Somewhere else. We ended up at a small park, overlooking the city skyline. We sat on a bench, watching the lights twinkle below. Do you think we made the right decision? I asked. About what? About staying together. About stopping swinging. She was silent for a long time. I don't know, she said finally, but I know I don't want to lose you, Mark. Even if it means everything has to change. The ending is not written. The jury is out whether this marriage will last or not. Trust has been broken, and although Mark and Sarah are trying to work it out, it is going to be a long, hard road. Whether or not it will be worth it, only time will tell.